Ayo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The Vortex. Peace. Yeah, here's your host, Cyclonius, for the Verbal Vortex show, and we have a special guest with us. Would you like to tell the people who you are?
Hey everybody, my name is Nadine Walker, and yeah.
And it's a pleasure to have you on the platform.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank
I was
you very
really
much.
happy that you actually contacted me. But
All good, all good.
Divine timing, as we said before.
That's right, that's right. I wanted to start the conversation about your current single. Is it called Never Felt a Love?
Yeah.
That's right, okay.
Yeah.
Now, Never Have a Love has a deep, uplifting energy. What inspired this song, and how did the collaboration between you and Timberwolf come about?
Okay, so first of all, there's different ways that I make music.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite funny because a lot of the time I have people saying, "Oh, is that about you and what you're going through?" And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes you just vibe. Sometimes you just kind of go with what you feel at that time. In terms of this particular song, it really was truly a collaboration with myself and DJ Timberwolf, because we was going back and forth, and I was like, how do you feel about that? Do you like this? And he was very he had a huge input in it as well, and it really was a collaboration. But in terms of like the lyrics, it just like, I feel like when I make house, because of the origins of house, it's about people coming together and really having a good time. If you know about the origins of like Chicago house, and it's about people coming together. So I always feel like love is something that is such a powerful frequency. So I like to use those lyrics when it pertains to writing music, and I just think it just come out organically, really. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened. But yeah, it worked out. I really am proud of the song. So yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm not sure if that answered the question, but
No, yeah, you did. See, the second question I think you kind of answered it when I was going to say house music. It has a strong emotional pull within it. So I was going to say, what drew you to the genre to do this particular track? But
okay. I grew up listening to house in my household, my childhood household. So all your Crystal Waters and your just all those sort of times. So yeah, house is just something that I've always loved. All your CC Penistons, your Crystal Waters and stuff like that. Those are the sort of like sounds that I grew up with. Powerful singers, women that really stood out for making their mark in the music industry, pertaining to the house industry, if anything. But yeah, so it just always kind of influenced me. I love house. It makes me feel good, and it's something I grew up with, like I said. And yeah, so house was always going to be something that I was always going to do musically. Just like on the flip side, me doing hip hop, it's just, I don't know. But I think another reason as well is, I think some people just have a talent. And I think with me, there's certain things that were just there. I mean, I didn't grow up with my father. But later on in life, I've got in contact with a lot of family from my father's side, and got to know like brothers, nieces and things like that. And they were very musical, but I never knew that growing up. So all I had to go by what was just within, you know?
Yeah.
And so that was just something, I think that was the main thing that drove me into whatever direction I was going to go musically. It just was just organic, really. So, yeah. So to answer your question, the reason why I kind of was directed with house is just, it was just organic, as well as the influences around me, in terms of growing up listening to it. So, yeah.
And obviously, like when I'm going through some of your social media, I'm seeing that you're not a one-trick pony. You have a great singing voice, strong singing voice. But you also, if I'm correct, I see you.
I think it was an AG's thing, and was it the Grime spitting or something like a double time sort of rap, and I was just like, whoa, because you have a strong voice within the singing paradigm, but when it comes to the, let's say, rapping, your voice is still strong, and it's an impactful voice. You see what I'm saying? Commanding voice. Like, well, yeah, where does that come from? Is that, you know?
That's a very, very deep question. I can only go with the first thing that comes to mind, and it may be right, it may be wrong, but it's just my instant reaction to that is, I think when you go through a lot in life and you're musically equipped, it's like music is your therapy. And so you're intertwining a lot of emotion into that writing, and then you're basically letting that out. And so it's real. It's real shit. Like, it's not like some people, they come from music in ways where it's just about, you know, the glamour, the glitz, the fame and things like that. But some people, they really are expressing real life things that have gone on in their life. And whilst when I started, it was all fun and games because I've been doing it for a very long time. So when I'm young, you kind of find in yourself, you navigate. But then when you really get in tune with your gift, when you put pen to paper, you're essentially therapizing yourself.
Yes, definitely.
So there's power in that, you know. And I think, like, I would always advise people to write, because I always say it's like meditation. Because you've got so much things, like clutter, they call it, inside of you. And then when you basically write, you're making sense of things. So I feel that that's been my path musically, where I've literally let out a lot of things that have gone on inside of me, and I've put it to paper. And so, like, it's real, you know. And so I think that's where it kind of underpins with power, because I'm not just saying stuff. There's a lot of artists out there where they're just saying stuff because it sounds good, because that's what this person's saying. But have you lived that? Do you feel that? Have you gone through that? Well, I have. My lyrics are not just lyrics. It's my life story. It's parts of my life. It's parts of me. So I think that's where the power comes into things, because when I write and when I sing, it's intentional. Yeah. So, yeah.
You worked in a lot of genres. How do you decide which of the sounds, fit a song's message?
I refer to myself as a multi-dimensional person. There's loads of layers to me. And so just like you'll get someone who's a major hip-hop artist, you'll be surprised the playlist that they may have. They may listen to a bit of gospel. They may listen to a bit of R&B. They may listen to opera. Do you see what I'm saying? We're multi-dimensional. So we have different moods. We have different feelings. I might wake up one day and I'm angry. I'll try not to be. I try to be as peaceful as I can. But, you know, like, there's so many different feelings and things that we're going through, which we process all the time. So it's just wherever my mood takes me. And when you have the ability, that's why I absolutely love being a musician, because it is like a release.
Yeah.
So when you're releasing, you know, certain energies that are within yourself musically, it can take you in any different direction dependent on what you're going through. But because I have the ability to sing if I want to and let it out in that way, or rap because I'm angry and I need to get this out, I have that ability to kind of be multi-dimensional in that sort of way. So it really just depends on what I'm feeling as to what suits what I'm feeling lyrically or through whatever kind of style of music, really. So yeah, it's mood navigates it. I believe.
I wanted to move on to the song you done with Morpheus, "Little Things."
Shout out Morpheus.
Yeah, big up Morph. it had a different vibe compared to your collaboration with Timberwolf. What was that creative process like compared to Never Felt a Love?
I just think it's just kind of the same sort of answer to the last one, in all honesty, because it's just, you have so many different angles of your music ability, or I do. And I feel like what it is, is you have lots of different production as well. So if someone gives me this production or someone gives me that production and they're completely different, I try to merge myself into what the production, because the production leads to a large degree, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm trying to merge into that production as well. That's another factor, because like I feel like, and actually me and Timberwolf, shout out Mr. DJ Timberwolf, we had a conversation, which is like, you've got to give a lot of respect for producers as well, you know, because they are a big part of the artistry as well. Do you see what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So that kind of plays a part in what leads me musically, what mood I'm in and stuff as well. You know, it's a collaboration in its own right, you know.
That's right.
So yeah.
As we know, Morpheus was on my show before, and he's really known for his technical precision. So how did his approach influence your sound?
Morpheus has played a really big part in my journey, if I'm completely honest, and I have a lot of respect for Morpheus. Again, like, the music industry is, it's a team effort, if you will. There's music enthusiasts that will listen to music and they don't realize how much goes into hearing that one track. There's a producer, there's a masterer, there's a mixer, there's a sound engineer, there's the artist, and the art. Like, there's so many factors. You know,
right.
There's a person who has to write it. You know, there's so many factors. So when it comes to Morpheus, I kind of met him on I'd like to say the beginning of my journey, not the very beginning, but along the beginning stages of my musical journey, and he taught me a lot. I'll give him that. He's taught me a lot, and in terms of directing me, because he was probably a bit more experienced than me in the recording and sound engineering side, because whilst I'm an artist in my own right, as a singer, there's a maths, so there's a science to singing as well, you know, when you're talking about when you're recording and creating a song. So yeah, Morpheus played a significant part in kind of contributing to moulding me as an artist and allowing me to learn things that are more on the sound engineering side. So respect Morpheus.
Yeah, definitely, man. Morpheus, when it comes to me and my recording, Morpheus been there from nearly the start of mine as well. I've been recording for him for God knows how long, a really long time. And I would still keep recording with Morph, man. He's a don in his lane.
Can I just say, the only reason, because I learned how to, as I was saying to you before, I've learned how to sound engineer and mix myself. I mean, there's still, it's quite funny, because when I first started doing it, like, I've kind of got the hang of certain things, and I was like, yeah, I've got it. And then there's so many things and hurdles that come along, and then you're like, I really haven't got it. It's literally ongoing. The technical side of music, it's so ongoing, and it really does take a long time to really master that craft. What I'm trying to say is, as much as Morpheus has been someone that I've always used, what I've realised is I wanted to be able to do it myself. So that is why I learned. It's not to take away from how much he offered and taught me and stuff, and I wouldn't change it, because I've learned so much more, and it's just widened my craft. Like, because I just feel, I'm trying to think of a metaphor that would describe it. It's like, it's like, it makes you more well-rounded.
That's right.
Because even though I'm an artist and I'm a singer, I have to be clued up to the technical side of things, and I want to be able to have that technical input, because it's my music that I'm essentially creating.
That's right.
So as much as Morpheus, big you up Morpheus each and every time, but like, and I stuck with Morpheus for years, but I just think I reached a point where I wanted to know how to do that, to kind of be in the driving seat.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, literally, and I wouldn't change it. It was one of the best things I ever did. But there was something that drove that. So
okay.
But yeah.
Would you mind going into what drove it?
Not at all.
So what drove your road to independence then?
Okay. So in 2019, I basically had health issues to the point where it was really detrimental. And I'm not saying it for a sob story. A lot of people, you know, might perceive it in that way, but it really is just what it is, you know. And I was very, very unwell. And in the process of being unwell, it was like threatening. And all I could think about was I haven't left my mark musically. And when you're faced with like life-death situation, and all you can think about, the dominant feeling that I felt was I haven't left, like, think of all the things there is to think about in life, and all I could think about is I haven't left my mark musically. So that in itself, for me, told me that there's more I need to do. There's a lot more I need to do. And the reason why I wasn't doing it is because I don't particularly like the music industry. I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen how it can change people. I've seen a lot of negativity. And as a spiritual person, like, it's just, I've always had one foot in and one foot out. But because I was faced with that situation, the thing that I felt was like, okay, so what if I die and then no one truly gets to hear the abundance of the gift that I've been given? So many people love to sing. So many people love to rap. I can, but then I'm just going to sit on it. So that's something I didn't want to do.
Right.
And that experience just really ignited a fire in me. So with that, I basically bought all of the equipment, and I've been intentional. I've been extremely intentional, and that's why you've seen me be consistent, because it's driven by a higher force. I know that within myself, and whether there's people out there that can relate to that or not, it's neither here or there to me. I know what I have to do. It's meaningful to me, and it's purposeful.
Right.
You know, so that is basically why I bought all of the studio equipment, and I started again from scratch. I literally deleted everything off my Instagram, and I learnt the business side of things as well. You know, PRS, MCPS and PPL, all of that. Like, just really got to grips with, right, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And there's no rush. There's no rush. There's divine timing. I've got a deeper connection to what I refer to as my Most High. And I'm led by that. And everything will be what it's supposed to be when it's supposed to be. So yeah.
Wow.
I babbled on a bit there, but
No, you didn't babble on a bit.
It's just my truth, you know.
And exactly, that's what I'm saying. You didn't babble on a bit. You gave us a nice insight into basically how you're maneuvering, where things are coming from, your mindset.
It's meaningful.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people don't really get the chance to hear these things from artists, or, you know, people who who are inventors, or poets, or, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a great insight. So
can I just say, like, I think a lot of people, especially as a woman, they really don't understand that not everyone wants to be famous. Like I was saying to you before, like, I'm not in this because I want to be famous. I'm quite, even though I can be extrovert, like, I'm introverted. Like, I like to protect my energy, as I was saying to you earlier. And music is necessary because it can change lives. And yeah, that's what I was going to say. Basically, me starting again from experience, and it's not just about the glamour and things like that. It's because there's singers and there's artists, and there is a difference.
yeah,
And for me, what artist means to me is I've gone through so many things, and it's shaped me to be able to offer something back, so musically, through the channel of the gift that I've been given, so that when people hear that, then it can create change. It can shift things in life, because everything is polarity. Yeah, there's good, there's bad, there's negative, there's positive, however you want to say it, it's semantics. But I believe that creativity in any form brings about good or bad. And I'd like to think that my music brings about a shift in a good way. Do you know what I'm saying? I want to make a difference in that sort of way. And music is such a significant thing that does impact people.
That's right.
Because it's impacted me. You know, when I've grown up and I'm listening to this and I'm listening to that, and it's like, oh, I need to get my emotions out if I'm sad or whatever it be. You know, music can help you along that journey emotionally.
That's right.
You know, and I know there's that cliche thing where people don't like to hear conscious stuff. Well, let me rephrase that. It doesn't get as much attention as it deserves in the music industry, but it doesn't mean to say that there's not people that are listening.
That's right.
And I feel like whether I'm rapping and it's consciousness, but I feel like I try to put a spin on it to still give it a bit of way, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
at the same time, like, listen to what I'm saying. There's messages. But with my house, I feel like it's more lighthearted. But either way, it's all about positivity. I really want to bring about a high frequency. If you know about music and frequencies as well, then you know, like, the significance in the shifts that it can actually make. So, but yeah, so I started again, not from scratch, but from experience. And I feel like I have a lot more to offer, along this journey in terms of what I've gathered along the way. But it just took that situation in 2019 to kind of prompt me and really give me that drive to say, no, Nadine, you've got something, put it out there. Because when you're gone, that's what's going to be left behind, and you don't know how many people that can affect and heal and help and support, and that means a lot to me. So, but yeah.
That's very interesting. So would you say, from hearing what you're saying, would you feel that you have something to give that healing factor to people, or give them some kind of direction?
I mean, just on the basis of knowing that that's what it's done for me, that's what it's done for many other people. I don't like to think of myself as higher or better than anyone else to talk for other people, but my aim, based on how I've made sense of things, is to bring about what I feel is positive and make differences in that sort of sense. You know, but I can't really say for other people. Everyone's different, but I just know, if we're just talking generally, music does make a difference if it's the right music at the right time. Well, yeah, I mean, we say right music because there's a lot of people that say that's bad music, but sometimes you need to listen to that bad music as well, you know.
Everything has its place.
Yeah.
But what it is I'm seeing it as like, maybe you're a conductor. What I mean by that is, like, you know, music is energy. So, you know, you're going to be transferring a type of energy to whoever's listening. So that's where I was coming from. Yeah, with that question still, but
sorry, I gave like a massive essay of
no, listen.
But I'm trying to just elaborate and give content.
Yeah, and it's much appreciated. So when you're crafting a song, you know, what do you start off with? Do you start off with your lyrics, or do you have the concept first, the melody, or is it the beat? You know, I'm saying, obviously, typically it could be anywhere, but where would you like to mostly start with on a good day if you had your if you was in your lab?
It depends what I'm feeling. I feel like I'm not going to say mostly, because it really does depend on the different factors that I've said, but I think the majority of the time, what I will say is I'm led by how the music takes me. So if I listen to the production and I'm just, I don't know, I just go by how I feel, because like it's crazy, because like sometimes I can do house and it brings out a softer side to me, but then I do the hip hop, as you know, and that could bring out a more aggressive, like, fire side in me. But I feel they're all valid, if that makes sense.
They all have their place.
Yeah,
you
know,
all
but
makes sense.
But yeah, I do feel the production it pulls you a lot in terms of the direction you go. But also it just depends. For example, there's been times where I've gone through something, and if sometimes I could look for a beat as well. See, this is the thing, is beats don't just always come to you. Sometimes you might be looking for a beat on certain sites or whatever, but on the basis of what I've gone through, because I could have gone through A, B or C, and then that could actually be the drive as well. So it just differs. It's dependent.
As a random type of question, like, have you ever had a song idea that maybe started off in like maybe one genre, but then transformed into something completely different? I.e., like, you could have been started in house, and then the way that you're writing a song and maybe the feeling, you was like, whoa, this is actually R&B. Like, has something like that ever happened?
Not really. I don't think so. Not that I can think of right now, because I feel like I'm quite intentional when I write, and I'm quite experienced enough. Like, I feel like I'm a really good writer personally.
Right. Yeah.
I know how to create good melodies, things that are impressionable for people to hear, like, oh, that's going to stick in so and so's head, or people are going to like that. And I really like to play on emotion. So I feel like, because like some of the people that I grew up with, like, and for example, like, I loved Mary J. Blige, or your Whitney Houston, or your Mariah Carey, like old school for some. But these were amazing singers that were coming from a place of emotion a lot of the time. And I do, if you're talking about power, there's power in that. So when I'm writing, I feel like I like to incorporate a lot of emotion, because I feel like we're all emotional beings.
That's right.
And we can all relate emotionally. So when you're listening to something, like, you wanna feel that it's coming from a real place. So if you're really coming from an emotional place, you can convey that emotion, like, that you can convey it through the song more. Because if it's just like what I was saying earlier, if you've got someone that's just talking about stuff that they haven't done, I feel like you're not going to convince the listener. But if someone's really gone through something and they've felt it, they can convey that through the music, and then the listener picks up on that.
Yeah.
It's just like if I go on stage and I don't believe in myself, the crowd ain't gonna believe in me.
That's right.
So it's the same when you transfer it into music when it's recorded. It's the same sort of thing. But yeah.
Which one of your songs would you say that it represents you and your artistry the most?
I don't know. The only way I can answer is I'm so fluid with my music. I've learned to, because what it is in the music industry, they try to box you. You have to be this. Because I've had management, I've had people try and guide me, everyone's got an opinion in the music industry. That's another thing. Everyone's got an opinion. But at the end of the day, as an artist, I would say to any artist out there, if you're trying to, follow that path, listen to yourself, because you can't go wrong. Do you know one thing I've learnt recently? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure many people will. I shouldn't really say that, because I'll probably have everyone correcting me. But in my mind, from my understanding and the things that I've kind of explored, to be congruent with yourself and to be authentic, it's the highest frequency. It's the best place you can be in, because when I answer that question, the first thing I think of is, along my journey, I've had so many people tell me, do this, do that, only stick to this, only stick to that. But I said to myself, music is limitless. It's timeless and it's limitless. And this is a personal journey for me, and I'm stepping into that. And when I've stepped into that, that's when I've seen the results, because I'm being true to me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And that's why I say to every artist, like, sometimes you have to quiet and the noise around you, and really hone in and say, who am I? Why am I doing this? What is my purpose for doing this? And if it's true to you, you can't really go wrong. You know, and I just feel like that. So when you're asking me, like, what was the question again? Which song?
Which of your songs represent you, your artistry?
I feel like it just all represents me, because it's all genuinely me. There was a time where it probably wasn't 100% me, I'll be honest, because I'm on a journey. But that's what I was saying earlier. It's the difference between being a singer or a rapper and being an artist. Because when you're an artist, you've gone through so many things, and you take a bit of this, you take a bit of that, and then you learn, and then you mold yourself essentially into who you truly are. You know, what you kind of like, you learn along the journey of being a musician or an artist, you know. Because, put it this way, there was a time that probably when I had one foot in and one foot out, if I would have got a lot more progression at that time, it would have been the wrong time. It would have been the wrong time. Because who I was then and who I am now, I am truly authentic in who I am now. So you're getting my music. Before, it probably wasn't the case. And I feel like there's been better results from that. But I say all that to say, essentially, like, whatever I'm putting out, that is all me. It's all authentically me. So there's no, I prefer this or I prefer that, because it's all parts of who I am, and I'm proud of all of that, you know, what I offer musically. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah.
All right, so the question that I was going to have, I think you basically kind of answered. I was going to say, how do you balance your artistic freedom with industry expectations when working across these genres of music?
Again, it boils down to being authentic, and that's been a part of the challenge, because people have said to me, you need to do one. But why? That's like me selling myself short. I can rap and I can sing, but you're asking me to just do one. For who? For who? Because there's people that like my rap and there's people that like my singing. So why should I deprive people who appreciate this or appreciate that, because you think that music has to be that branded and that boxed, that I must take away from what I have to offer? And I just don't think that's right when people do that. I just think music is so fluid in that sort of way that you should allow people, it's an expression.
That's right.
You're basically silencing someone's expression essentially by saying, just do this. And when I realised that, I just didn't want to do it. You know, I may concentrate more on one, but no, in fact, I don't. I'm lying. I don't. It's just whatever I feel like doing, and you know, I'm trying to really be fluid and intentional, because you just don't know what's going to touch someone and when it's going to touch them. So I just don't really want to feed into that. I don't like that. I don't like the way people box people into these, or what's the word, when you put people into boxes musically. I think you're basically, you're stunting their growth, and you're what are you doing? You're essentially
Maybe stifling
them. You know, like, you're not allowing them to come to you in their truest form. And by doing that, you're not getting the best out of them.
That's right.
So I don't particularly like that. I don't feed into that. I used to, but I don't, because it's so ironic. I was in a relationship, and that person said to me, I don't think you should rap. And stupid me, I listened. I listened, and I just concentrated on singing. But then one of my good friends was just like, do you know what? There's one thing I always really liked about you. I know you're a really good singer, but I always loved the way you rapped. I think you should rap. So then I was just like, oh, I don't know.
Push and a pull, innit?
Do you know what the truth is? Because in the music industry, people always compare. It's like, because there's a certain somebody, I'm not going to say the person, but a lot of people say you sound like that person.
Right.
And I hate that, because I'm not trying to sound like that person. And there's a lot of artists that they're not trying to sound like someone. That's just who I sound like.
Yeah.
Because that's the automatic thing that people do. Oh, you sound like that person, or that person sounds like that person. But why should that matter? At the end of the day, I'm giving you me. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, my friend said you should rap. So I said, you know what, let me give it another go. And I really, like, I haven't released none of my hip hop stuff. I'm actually working on it now, and it's nearly finished, and I'm going to be releasing it soon. But there was a particular track, the first track that I made with that person, and it was fire. It was fire. And I think that's when I realised I can't be just put into one box. Yeah. So
Can't limit yourself.
no, not at all.
And you mentioned it earlier on, a lot of people in the industry have opinions. And that's all they are, they're opinions. But like you said, it comes down to how you truly think and feel.
Yeah.
It's your journey, it's your story.
100%. But I think that goes with anything in life. Everyone's got something to say. You're doomed if you do, doomed if you don't.
That's
I've
right.
actually got a track called that. It's not out yet. It's going to be coming. Like, there's a lot of stuff coming. I'm working on a lot of stuff, but you know, like, you doomed if you do, you doomed if you don't, in so many aspects of life. In this case, musically, you just have to stay true to yourself and truly do what means something to you. That's the whole point of purpose.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are in the music industry, it's on the basis of purpose.
That's right.
And that's something you can't explain to someone else. It's something that's felt. And I can't just go, but oh, here you go. Like, that's what I feel. Because he who knows it, what's that saying? He who's lived it knows it.
Yeah.
You can only really truly grasp the gravity of purpose when it pertains to music if it's something you're really going through yourself. So your opinions out there don't matter to me. And that's where you have to be strong and stern in yourself musically. Because it's not easy being a musician. I get judged all the time. Oh, you're a woman. Like, why are you rapping? It's manly, it's masculine. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? That's your opinion. You don't know me.
That's right.
Like, you don't know where I'm coming from. If you want to ask me where I'm coming from and find out more, I always say, the biggest bridge in between any two people is misunderstanding. Understanding bridges the gap. Until you truly understand where someone's coming from, don't judge. Like, so yeah, and that's what music does. It tells your story.
This is it.
You know,
and that's what matters, isn't it? You know, your story is your story, and that's the reason why most will tap into what you're doing, because they want to hear you. You know, it's that simple. If you could curate a dream collaboration, who would you want to work with and why? And that's a vast, big question.
Can it be anywhere in the world?
Anywhere.
I think there's probably so many people. To be honest, a lot of the people that I probably would first think of are probably not alive.
That's cool.
You know, like, what made me start music, oh my god, it's actually made me feel emotional. Like, because, oh god, I feel emotional about it actually. Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Give me a minute, sorry. It's made me fucking emotional. What the hell? Oh god, what have you done to me?
No, Michael's a don, you know.
Like, I think Michael Jackson was the start of my journey as far as I can remember. When I was like little, and I used to imitate Michael Jackson. I used to put a curl on top of my forehead in the middle. I can remember my mum doing my hair basically, and then I'll be going to school. And then I would ruin the hair by pulling out.
Come over, she's like, what have you done?
Because I wanted to be Michael Jackson. You know, he had his curl and that.
Yeah, we all was in that boat, mate. Yeah. I done all that sort of stuff as well.
I used to cry when he had other women in his video. You know what I mean? And yeah, like, he was just the epitome. I just don't think you're ever going to get another Michael Jackson.
Nah.
He was the epitome of that. You see that right there? That people would die at his concerts, because they just, when we're talking about emotion and how that music can touch you, Michael Jackson is the epitome of that. And he touched me, and you know, so I personally, oh god, to collaborate with someone like that would just be absolutely amazing. I love Michael Jackson. I cried when he died.
Many people did, man. That was a madness when he did it. It was sudden. It was abrupt. It was just, you know, someone at that height and that, you know, with that. Remember, he span over so many generations as well. Even
today, like, I've got nieces and nephews and stuff, and you know, they love his music as well. Like, if you want to talk about music and the impact that it can have, he is a fine example in terms of music being timeless.
Definitely.
You know, so,
and it wasn't that long ago when he passed, man. What, 2009?
I can't remember.
To me,
the year,
2009. That's like a stone throw away. Like, it's, you know, it's still fresh.
I mean, it's fresh for me anyway. You know, because it's just like, he's still prominently here because he's lived through so many generations. Like, there's, for example, on YouTube, there's this group of young African children in Africa, and they basically dance a lot to Michael Jackson's music. I'm not sure if you've seen them. They've gone viral.
I'm not sure, you know.
They're so amazing. Yeah, they're so amazing. Sorry to interject you.
No,
yeah, they're
fine.
so amazing. But it's just an example of how his music kind of lives on, and so he's still here. If you get what I mean. So, but yeah, Michael Jackson is someone that I would love to collaborate with.
That would be really good.
Yeah.
Because I felt he was, when I'm watching stuff and I see like behind the scenes, he's very involved in not just the vocal arrangement, but he's very much involved in the production and how things are supposed to sound and come across.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that would be very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to say someone from the UK, I mean, I personally, I come more from an upbringing of music in the American industry of music, personally.
Yeah.
It's not to say that that's what I'm limited to. Like, I sing opera as well. A lot of people don't know.
That's deep.
But I haven't necessarily put nothing out yet, but I will. But if I had to think of someone in the UK, it's a bit harder for me because I used to listen to a lot of music. As strange as it is, I don't listen to a lot of music now.
Okay.
I don't know whether it's something as when you get older, like my consciousness has changed in terms of being careful about what I let in musically and just with a lot of things. But also I don't like to disrupt my natural organic craft in my own right as well. Because when you're listening to a lot of other music, it's going to go into your subconscious.
Right.
And I don't want to lose who I am musically.
Yes, I hear you.
But if I had to say anyone, if it was in the UK, I do like Thames.
Okay.
Obviously, I like Wiley's music. Shout out Wiley. I don't know. I've got a mixture of sort of sounds that I like, but there's a few good artists in the UK. I can't deny. But those are probably two that stand out. Can I think of any others? My mind's a bit blank right now, but yeah. But the main person that's striking to me in terms of who I would love to collaborate with, definitely Michael Jackson.
Yeah, the powerhouse, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on now into the next bracket of questions. You mentioned that spirituality plays a big role in your life.
Yeah.
How does it influence your music and your creative process?
It's the core of everything. Because as I said to you, I'm a believer in God. I don't follow a religion, but I have a very deep, in-tune connection with my God as I know it in my own right. And no one can take that away from me. I think it's very God, my version of God and my connection is very intertwined with music. And what I mean by that is I believe I was given music as a gift by God. I'm essentially directed by God musically. Everything I do, in the back of my head, would God approve of that? And so, yeah, definitely, 100%, I am driven by that source of spirituality in terms of it being a God. When I embark on a music journey. So yeah. Does that answer the question?
It does.
Okay.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you view music as a form of healing or a spiritual practice within itself?
For who?
Yourself, or maybe whoever's embarking in their music journey, listening, or
most definitely, because we already know sound is healing. There's certain sounds that have healing frequencies. We know that through science. It's been proven. They actually do it in some practices in terms of medicinally. So we already know sound, it heals.
Yeah.
So does music.
Yeah.
It's really as simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, so in terms of the music that I put out, I try to be as conscious as to who's listening and whatever I'm writing and putting out there. based on my own experiences, I always try to round it off in a way that a message is delivered in the right way, because someone's going to relate to that. And that's not always going to be polite. It's not. Sometimes the music can be pretty, but sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes, but I feel like I personally, even though I'm talking about things that may not necessarily be pretty, I try to deliver it in a way where it can be internalized. It's not overbearing. But that's just me. Everyone's different, you know. But also, I think one of the things that impacted me from a very, very early age is I always I've got 20 nieces and nephews, and I always want to be a good role model musically. I don't like to put out negative stuff, because I do think music can be it can influence people. And I want those who are younger than me, mainly my nieces and nephews, but obviously younger generations as well. I want to, so if it could be played in front of them, I want to feel like, oh, I can actually play that in front of you and your mum and your dad. Like, it's not disgusting. It's not like profusely negative. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like I try to be conscious of that. But yeah.
Nice. Has there been a particular moment in your life where your spiritual beliefs directly shaped a major decision?
A major decision. Yeah. My spiritual beliefs have shaped all of the decisions that have essentially rounded me as to who I am now authentically. It's my spirituality that has allowed me to become self-aligned in that sort of sense. And the only way I can kind of describe, like, because a lot of people say, what is spirituality? It's different for all different people. I mean, for me, it's like a connection to a higher entity that I can't explain to other people. It's so ironic though. I didn't used to believe in God.
Okay.
It took certain things that were supernatural that I've gone through consistently, because I used to deny it and be like, no, that didn't happen. Okay, why is that happening? Okay, whoa. Like, there were shocking things that I've gone through. I'm not going to say it, but all I will say is there's supernatural things that there's no scientific explanation for some of the things that I've personally gone through, to the point where I've had to face my reality. And my reality is there is a lot more that meets the eye.
Right.
And when you go through certain things, you know, where you know something is real to you, it speaks volumes. And that's basically what's happened to me. It's just spoken to me, and it's just kind of been a big part of shaping me. So the major decision is, was it change, did you say?
Yeah.
Has been based on who I am as a person. And the spirituality has shaped me to be the best version of myself, and I'm continuing to try and be the best version of myself. I'm not sure if that makes sense. I may have babbled on, because it's such a complex topic when you're talking about spirituality, because it's like you have to be careful with what you're saying, because it's just going to have so many people attacking, or like people that believe in science, for example. And, you know, it's just like, how do you get across to someone what is within you? Because as Bob Marley said, we have a universe within.
That's right.
You know, it's like, how do you take out that universe and say, oh, this is real, to somebody else? So it's very personal, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you can only be you. And that, you know, that's interesting, because that leads me to this question I wanted to ask you. I was going to say, some artists describe songwriting, as channeling something beyond themselves. Do you relate to that feeling? Like, have you gone through, like, when you're writing and then this, whatever it is, has just come out of nowhere?
I used to feel like that, but that was before I grasped the understanding of myself. So before I used to write, and I feel like So, for example, with meditation, they say you're supposed to meditate because you're inside your head. It's built up with so much clutter. So, in order to release that clutter, you meditate, and then you're going to hear lots of noises, and they say you're just supposed to just let it go. Just let it. You're gonna have all loads of mad things coming out, things that don't make sense. This is what they say with meditation. But then eventually, you reach a point where all of that sound has released itself, and then it's like going to the gym. You have to continue doing it. Eventually, you reach a point where it's serenic because it's quiet. So I say that to say that when I've been writing before, there was a lot of clutter.
Okay.
Because I was young, didn't really understand myself, dysfunctional, all over the place. But then the more I've grown, which has been a lot to do with the spirituality, it's allowed me to truly delve in deep in lots of different ways, through meditation, through writing, through, just even going to uni and doing a psychology degree. These things have helped me to compartmentalize who I am and truly understand who I am. So now when I write, it's not as cluttery. It's clear. I know what I'm saying. I know why I'm saying it. I know what I want to gain from whatever I'm writing. So yeah, it's more intentional. It's sensical to me. Whereas before, it was just, let me just write this. It's the kind of all over the place. But yeah.
Purpose.
Yeah.
What are some personal rituals or practices you use to stay grounded and connected?
Just in general, or not?
Just in general, yeah.
Protecting my energy, only being around positive people. If something doesn't resonate, to take myself away from it respectfully. I don't necessarily need to argue with people, but if something's not for me, I've got to recognise it and just not be around it, or be sparingly around it. Looking after myself is a big one.
Right.
Looking after myself, and that's not just on the outside, looking good and all of that rubbish, it's about internally, being kind to myself, how I think about myself, what I consume, like food wise, what I use on my skin, like natural products and all things like that I'm very into. That's that. I think these things keep me grounded. I'm a firm believer of trying to emit peace and be peaceful, because I've had so much of the opposite in my life, and it's like the polarity of life. Sorry, my belly's rumbling. I'm fasting at the moment. Talking of how you basically, ground yourself. Yeah. Fasting is a part of that as well, So sorry about the old belly rumbling. Intermittent fasting, but they're just some of the things. I think self-love for a very, very, very long time, and I'm being vulnerable now, but I believe in the quote by Bruce Lee, be like water. Yeah. And I truly believe that is a part of the authenticity that I've spoken of. Like when you reach a point where you can just trust in the universe, what's meant to be, not resist, not fight, because I've done that. And that's where the peace truly forms. So a part of being like water allows you to explore so much and lead you to self-love, because you start to let go in a way, not in a bad way, because in life I feel like you can try and change that. I want to control that. I don't like that. Why is that happening? But when you just learn to accept, this is a part of grounding yourself as well, being like water and learning to accept, maybe that's not meant to be for me. Maybe they were supposed to go, because I've found that so many things that I fought for, when they've removed themselves from my life, I found deeper parts of myself. And that has made me propel to be a better person. Is the word propel? Or progress, to be a better person, or a stronger person, or, find deeper meaning in something. So I just think being like water, looking after yourself, like being authentic, these are key things in grounding yourself, essentially. Yeah. So you're gonna hear my belly rumble quite a bit now because I'm getting hungry.
Good. You know what? I'm doing it intermittent fasting myself. So.
Oh, are you? Are you fasting now?
I haven't eaten anything at the moment.
Oh, okay.
So when I finish and I go back, that's when I'll eat.
Yeah.
I'm saying along the timeline of this, you might hear, and it's not you, it's me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's all good. Right, so yes.
He's taken me out just to basically starve me in this interview.
No.
I'm only joking.
How do you navigate the balance between being spiritually in tune and dealing with the realities of the music industry?
I feel like I just try to shut up, because I feel like a lot of people talk from a point of not having experience, and you just can't take it on. You just can't take it on. It's as simple as that. Like, and that's what I feel like a good thing about knowing yourself. It kind of automatically silences those sorts of distractions and stuff, because I've gone through a lot in life, and like, I'm not a kid, you know what I mean? I've gone through a lot in life, and it's taught me a lot, and more than anything, it's taught me to know who I am. So you can't tell me who I am. You can't tell me how to be. Like, I'm in tune with myself, and that is a superpower, you know. So yeah, congruency, self-congruency.
Yep, definitely. Has your spiritual journey ever clashed with your music career? And if so, how have you handled that?
Well, yeah, that's what I said at the very beginning. That's why I had one foot in and one foot out.
Yeah.
Because the music industry, anyone that's in it knows it's tainted.
Yeah.
I mean, people might say, all right, why is it tainted? Because, if I'm completely honest, there's people that are in their ego. There's people that are stopping people from progressing. There's a lot of gatekeeping within this industry. There's a lot of sex, drugs and rock and roll. And you can very easily get tied into that and lose yourself.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people that have. I've nearly have. You know, and it's just, I just think knowing who you are, knowing what you stand for, knowing where you want to go, and kind of going through things to the point where you're solid in that, that's what can deter you from being kind of interrupted along those sort of, like, with those sort of influences in the music industry. For me anyway, yeah.
Before, we've mentioned, well, you was mentioning about, you know, sound and vibrations and stuff. You know, many cultures see sound and vibrations as they're sacred. It's a sacred tool.
Sound bowls and all things like that.
Right. So do you see music as having a deeper energetic or spiritual power?
Yeah, it's a gift. How can I put it? It's powerful in the sense that it's therapizing. It's powerful in the sense that it's a release. You can get ill just through repressing things within. So music allows you to release, whether it's a listener or whether it's a person that's actually singing or rapping, it's still essentially release. And that in itself is powerful because it's medicinal then. Because if you're saying that if I keep all of these feelings in, that's why they have things like music therapy. Yep,
that's right.
You know, so yeah, definitely. How can that not be powerful? It's curing people. It's curing people emotionally. It's curing people psychologically, and it's curing people physically. So yeah, definitely.
If you could convey one spiritual truth or lesson through your music, what would it be?
If I could what? Say that again?
If you could convey one spiritual truth or lesson through your music, what would that be?
What do you mean? I don't understand.
If you was only, say like they said, right, you know what, you've got one shot at just trying to give people this truth through your music.
Oh, okay.
Like,
one important message.
Yeah, obviously I know that you've got loads of things that you could talk about, but if you could just give one, in your, let's say that your next single was your last or whatever like that, what would you convey to people to let them know? something that you think that they should focus on or hold dearly, or maybe even give it some consideration?
Self-love. Probably self-love. There's loads. I mean,
course.
as you know, I can chat. I could go off with so many different reasons, but like there's so much power and there's so much that can be shaped in this world to make it a better place. Michael Jackson, how ironic. But a lot of it derives from self-love. Now, as someone that's come from a place unashamedly, is there such a word? Unashamedly? I need to check. Can you check, please? I feel like I need to check. And I know someone's going to be watching this and they're going to be like, oh, checking every single word.
Unashamedly.
Well, I don't feel ashamed to say this.
I think you're right, look.
Unashamedly. Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't feel ashamed to say this. I've been in spaces where I've lacked self-love. And there's a lot of shame and guilt that you can make yourself feel on the basis of that. But I've come to recognize that I lacked certain things to show me certain things so that I could behave in a certain way where the love was there for myself. And a lot of people experience this. So what I would say essentially is managing to reach a point where I truly love myself, and not in an egotistical way, in a righteous way. I feel like if I can allow people to form a self-love for their self, that is so empowering, and it can create positive shifts essentially in the universe. And that may sound so far-fetched, but why not? Why shouldn't that be something that we aspire for? Why shouldn't it? You know, like one of the biggest things that I've realized in life is when you completely come out of your comfort zone, you will grow in ways you never anticipated. I used to be a person that will stay comfortable, but I've realized along this journey you can't stay comfortable. You cannot. But there's so much stuff that empowers you along that way. But yeah, essentially self-love is the message that I would really like to transpire through my music, if I had to pick anything. Like.
No, that's dope, man.
Yeah.
All right, last question for you. Do you feel your music has
sorry to cut you. I feel like, oh my God, I want more questions. But yeah, no, I've really enjoyed
listen,
it.
hopefully this is the first of many. You know, there's
I won't say no.
Yeah, there's a good few people that have come back, and that's yet to transpire on the show. But
That's good.
yeah, I hope it's the first of many, and you know, yeah, we'll chop it up again.
All right, cool.
Do you feel your music has a purpose beyond entertainment? Perhaps as a guide for others on their own spiritual path?
Yeah, most definitely. So I've always said, because this is like a spiritual journey, or God journey, God driven, I've had messaging that is basically, you know, when I say messaging, connection from the Most High, my Most High, as I understand of it. It's led me through the music, but I feel like, and probably for a lot of other artists or creatives, getting to a point of certain status and recognition is just the beginning. Because we're all people with messages beyond the creativity.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely more that I want to speak about. Definitely. Music is just a channel, if you will, to kind of get me there. But there's a lot more that I want to raise awareness on, 100%. Do you want to know one of the things?
Please, yes.
One of the things I really want to, and I will begin to speak about, is that of people that are black and white.
Okay.
Mixed heritage. Mixed heritage, I don't really like it, but that's another part of the topic, what I want to kind of elaborate on. But as a mixed race woman growing up, both black and white, I feel like there's really horrible, unrelatable, what's the word? Oh, what's the bloody word? representatives
Okay, right.
of our experience.
Right.
And I don't like it. I feel like we, as a race group, if you will, on our own and our own experiences, we have a plight as well that a lot of people don't understand. And I feel like there's a lot of people that do not bring light to trying to make people understand about that in a way that is positive. So there's a lot of stuff that I want to kind of shed light on in that area, in that topic, that I don't think there's a lot of people that are doing that. You know, I think there's a lot of people telling mixed race people whom they are, because there's this battle within a lot of mixed race people where they feel like they have to be loyal to this, or this is all they know, depending on their environment and what's kind of shaped them. But it takes a strong mixed race person to say, no, this is who I am. You're not going to tell me who I am, because I've gone through A, B, and C to be able to construct an understanding of whom I am, you know? But it's just it's a really, really stigmatized topic, I think, to a large degree. And it's a very, it's a topic that's not spoken about enough. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that is out there that's very untrue and inaccurate. And so that is something I personally would like to speak about a lot more.
Very touchy subject, but I think you're spot on. I think there would be a lot of people that will be thankful for you to create some kind of awareness, because there is, I have come into contact with people that have the same thoughts and feelings as yourself, and when they're expressing it to me, I'm like, I me being who I am, I can't totally understand that, because I'm not in that situation. So to hear their plight, I'm like, whoa, I never saw it like that, and I didn't know that that's how you feel about it. And they're like, this is how I feel. So again, I think to have someone representing that and bringing awareness to it, it could start stirring up more conversation in that area where people could gain some kind of wisdom or understanding from that.
Most definitely. I think there's a lot of lack of understanding, simply on the basis that there's so many different experiences within mixed race groups of people. I mean, I'm only speaking on black and white, because I can't talk on other people's mixed race plight based on their different mixes, only on mine. Right. And there's a lot of dynamics that can change that on the basis of, like, my mum was white and my dad is black, but like there's different experiences for people that their mums are black and their fathers are white. So what I'm saying is such a multi-dimensional topic that is so simplified. I hate it. You know what I mean? As someone who's basically black and white, like I'm a Pan-Africanist personally, and even that is problematic for people, and there's just so many dimensions of misunderstanding, misconstruing things, gatekeeping. There's so many different dynamics to the topic, but it's something I feel like I've gotten a lot of understanding of, not just through my own experiences, but through other people that I know who are black and white mixed as well. And it's just something I feel like I'd like to speak about a lot more. Yeah.
Well, I wish you the best with that, and also I'd love to hear the song.
Maybe that could be the next topic.
Well, hey, listen. Do you know what? If you're up for that, I would like to do that.
Yeah, okay, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's take it on it.
Hey, listen, let's do that.
Your hands are nice and warm.
Let's do that. Let's have a next discussion built within that paradigm.
Okay, I'm down. Lovely. I don't mind. Yeah, that'd be great.
So before we go, could you just let everybody know where they can contact you or where they can get a bit more of Nadine?
Okay. First of all, I just want to say thank you very much for having me as well.
Hey,
and I really appreciate it. Yeah. Shout out to Morphia, shout out to Wiley, everyone I've mentioned, DJ Timberwolf. And I just want to also say thank you to everyone that supports me. I didn't say it throughout the interview, but like that is one of my main drives as well, because I think a lot of musicians and artists can relate. When you have people appreciating what you do, it just drives you that more, because that's a force in its own right, where it just makes you realise, oh my God, I am being valued for what I have to offer, and it's touching people's lives in that sort of way, and that is just a beautiful feeling. And so I'm really thankful for everyone that supports me, everybody that sends me messages, everyone that, you know, downloads my releases, because I've had a few releases that are available, and so I just want to say thank you to everybody for that. And what was the last thing you said to say?
Where they can reach you.
So I'm basically on all platforms. Well, I say all, the main platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Bandcamp, Nadine Walker UK.
Right.
So yeah.
Definitely dope. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Peace.
Hey yo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex.